Hello and welcome everyone back to a brand new GP Bikes League. Yes, you heard me correctly. We are finally back after a long hiatus on GP Bikes with some actual decent league racing. Now, long-time viewers will know I'm a big fan of GP Bikes, and unfortunately the league racing competitive scene can be a bit drab at times. A lot of you would have seen me doing R2V over the last year or so, and I really enjoyed that, but unfortunately that kind of got canned midway through the season. Now we have a new league starting, and I'm pretty excited for this one. It's going to be a Moto America league, so all 8 rounds I believe are in America, and we're riding mid-2000 superbikes. So if you're aware with Javi's superbike mod, that is the mod we are using. So a pretty fun bike, some interesting tracks. Today we're starting off in round 1 at Daytona. Now I'm not gonna lie, I don't like this track at all. You'll hear more about it later in the video. But I'm just pretty excited to be back on GP Bikes doing some sort of competitive league racing and just having a good time, trying to sweat it a bit, having some fun. And yeah, now we're going to jump over to the lobby and we're going to see my qualifying lap before the race begins. So just actually as we started the lap, it was my first flying lap of the session. I really didn't get a good lap in the session, unfortunately. So you see this turn 1 here, it might look like I'm going ridiculously slowly. There's a huge issue with tire temps personally I had in that corner, where the front left side of the tire just really overheated, and if you tipped over maybe 40-50 degrees lean, you would just face plant. So throughout the race you will notice me going very gingerly through turn 1 and 2 especially. Now if you are keen-eyed and if you do know this track, a lot of you'll know it's pretty much 3/4 oval, and I really don't enjoy the oval part as much. The infield section isn't great anyway. It's kind of a mediocre track. This track, the actual version itself, has some flaws. You'll see a bit more in the race in a minute, but at the moment we are 11.5 seconds under our own time. Now unfortunately this was my quickest lap. Every other lap I did afterwards I went quicker, made a mistake or crashed. So unfortunately, as much as this was an okay lap, I still had about a second and a half in me, which could have changed my race judging on where I would have started. Now the interesting thing about this track, as you'll see in a second now when you jump to the grid, is that the grid is inside the pit lane. So you start in the pits, you come out onto the track for turn 1, and that's how the race begins. So it's a very congested grid. Something different. I've never actually raced at this track on GP Bikes. It's quite interesting to see. But we're coming up now to the final embankment. You can see how much lean I can get. We're on the limiter for a lot of it, and you'll find throughout this video I spent a lot of my time on the limiter, and I'm starting to think as I watch it back, I don't think I had the gearing perfect. You'll see in the races there's some riders around me who get the gearing slightly better. As we come up to the line now, not a great lap. We jump over to the race now. We're down in P12, so we are quite far back. And unfortunately, that's just, my lap time wasn't great. But here we go for the race start. 4 red lights and we are off, and we get a great start. 2 riders in front of us spin up and we just go straight forward. So we go from 12th all the way up to just 4th for a second. We go, you can see us going out onto the track. We take a very gingerly through turn 1 because you just want to take a handy first race of a new season. Turn 1, you don't need to go banzai. We actually jumped 9 riders up into P3. Now I didn't feel like my pace is especially good regardless of how good my laps were in practice or qualifying, but I felt like if I got away with some of the faster guys I might be able to just pull myself together and pull a bit of a couple of percentage out of my lap times. But unfortunately we've already lost 1 position to the guy in front. He just cut underneath me into turn 3. Throughout the race, me and a few others felt like that they just could not get the bike stopped. The bike felt totally different in the race. You see me here going quite deep, and then we just start to turn it and the rear end goes brop, and we nearly go out of the seat. Quite difficult. That leaves the rider behind. It gives us the run basically on us. So already we're after losing a bit of time to the guys in front. So already out of kind of prime slipstreaming. Now there is a bit of a bump there as you go up onto the oval, so you have to be really careful. You'll see a couple of riders get caught out with that in a minute, but for now we're under attack from Alex in P5, and also behind him there's another rider. So you'll see here in a split second or 2 that we're nearly 3 wide. I had a quick look to my right there just so I didn't cut across the nose, but you can see Manu Another quite popular mod maker running the full top rack. And then look at that Ducati going all the way to the wall. We are 3 wide into the second embankment. I'm kind of don't know where to go. In fairness, I do get given space by the two and we kind of bounce around in between. Some great looking racing. There's probably a great screenshot to be taken in there. Usually if you go higher on the embankment and come back down, you get the run, but not this time. And then Rico, I think his name is, comes flying through. Didn't even know he was there. So we're actually nearly 4 abreast. You can see how well he's geared as he just completely destroys me in a straight line. You can see me now come in here. I just have no confidence to tip in. The front tire temps are 120 degrees, so you're literally riding on chewing gum. If you tipped in there, I would be off. It happens so many times in practice and qualifying. Unfortunately, now we're already down to P6 at the end of lap 1, so we started 12th, gained 9 positions up to 3rd, and already we've lost another 3. But no, I wasn't too unhappy with this. I could have some fast guys in front of me, might be able to learn a few things. So I was actually pretty content at the moment there, going on the grass there ever so slightly, a bit of a mistake for myself. You can see the riders in front aren't really pulling way through the stadium section. This part of the track is where it'll be stronger, where it actually is a normal racetrack, so my skill and racecraft will come into it a bit more. You can see them having moments as well, so maybe they are also struggling with track conditions like I was. I seem pretty strong on the brakes, but then again I just don't seem to have the grip underneath me. I'm going a hard front, medium rear. You can see there, big high side, and that actually kills me because I've had to roll off. And now I've let the 2 boys in front get away, so now I've lost the momentum, lost the drive, lost the slipstream, and I've gone backwards to the guys behind, and I've lost the kind of toe to the guys in front. So for the first half of that lap, it was all good. I was kind of being dragged out of the group by some fast riders, but now I'm in a bit of a no man's land, and I'm being caught from behind because of the slipstream. So we'll see now as the lap progresses how critical slipstream is and how overpowered it is this track. You can see already, I believe it's Bunta who is behind me at the moment on the R1, and he is just taking the piss with the slipstream. He just takes so much time out of me and really just walks up to the back of me. He's already there. He's about a second and a half behind a minute ago, and through one banking and a bit of slipstream, he's probably going to have me by the line just, I'd say. So already now another position down, so already back to P7. Again, I take it pretty gingerly, so does he in fairness. We're both kind of in the same boat. He sits up, gives me room in fairness. Good awareness from Bunta. So we actually take back P6 for now, but we are under serious threat of losing more positions if we can't find some pace. This corner here, every lap just kept going deep, couldn't get it stopped. I adjusted my braking marker many times, but couldn't get the bike down. Not really sure why, considering in most of my practice I was running race tires and race fuel, so the bike shouldn't feel massively different. But there's a few times I just could not get the bike stopped in some of the heavier braking zones, which is quite odd. Where I thought, to be honest, the heavier braking zones was where I was strong at this track, and it turned into a bit of a weakness in the race. Now again, Bunta on the R1 is all over us, and I know coming onto this bankment he is going to have massive slipstream, so I'm not really going to fight him. I'm going to leave him go past. I'll have his slipstream then, and if we can kind of work together, we might be able to pull away from Biker, who is in P8 at the moment, and we might be able to jump onto the group in front, which is Rico and Alex. So I go for a high line, bring it down, want to get the good drive. Again, he's going to slipstream past regardless of what I try, but because he's so close, by the time he slipstreams past me, I'll be able to repass him pretty much before the corner if all goes so well. You can see the closing speed. You'll see in a second how it just flies past. There's just no way you can get anywhere near that. Quick shake of the head for myself. Not too happy with my Kawasaki at the moment. Again, I do believe my gearing is quite poor. You see, he's not on the limiter there where I'm pretty much am. You can just see just how many yards he takes out of me through here. Even now when I set it back up and I'm not on the limiter, I'm after losing the bones of 10 bike lengths to him. So I'm already now back into slipstream, up to 207 miles an hour at one point. But as soon as we lean over, the gyroscopic effect caused me to be back on the limiter. But again, yellow flag in turn 1. So many people struggle with turn 1. You can see me, look, I'm not even getting my knee down. I'm so gentle through there. 125 degrees of track temperature, or tire temperature I should say, but we get a great run through turn 1, turn 2, and we have a look up the inside of Bunta, and we get the move done, do we? Again, the bike just doesn't want to tip in there. I have so little edge and entry grip mainly on the rear tire, but we actually managed to get the move done nicely on Bunta. In fairness, he gave me the room once again. So far I am enjoying battling Bunta. He seems to be pretty clean, consistent and fair, which is all you can really ask for when racing online against other real life people. So one rider down, we're back up one position ahead of Bunta on the R1, back to P5. So we're still doing quite well for now. Lap 4 of 11. It's almost a 2-minute lap, so it's pretty much a 22-23 minute race, so pretty decent length race. Now you can see they take a different line out there top. They go really high. I just did not really know what line it was to take. Bunta again is behind me coming onto this embankment. You can see the rider just up the distance. He's taking a really weird line to come down. You can see a lot of the race I am actually looking around trying to watch what others are doing to try and learn, even in the race. And you can see here now I go all the way to the yellow line to break the slipstream from Bunta, but it's kind of wasting really my resources because it's so powerful that he still pulls into the back of me, so really couldn't do much there. Now I try and actually go higher here. You can see I'm just trying not go on the limit as much, but really doesn't do much, and I'm fairly sure Bunta is about to come underneath me. You can see the drive he gets. We turn back just a touch more, which causes us to slow down even more, and that's Bunta right behind me once again. So currently not really doing great on the pace. 53.1 was actually quicker than my qualifying lap, so that just shows how poor I was in qualifying. Bunta right up to the back wheel into turn 1, but again we're both quite cautious through turn 1 and 2. Neither of us want to throw a race away here. With it being such a fast track, it is really important you do not crash. It's the kind of the golden rule at a track like this, where it's so quick and you lose probably 20 seconds for a crash. You can see we go wide here. I have a quick look. Bunta also got dragged in. I threw my hands up as a bit of apology because I kind of got in a bit of a limbo there in that corner. I got a bit of a mistake. Again, bike did not feel good on entry. Just pushed me a touch wide, which meant my mid-corner speed was non-existent, and I really held up Bunta. He goes very aggressive to the outside, and I actually kind of felt like he caught me here because I knew I'd run wide here and that he would get the run back. You'll see me here look to the right in a second just to see had he cut back, but unfortunately for Bunta he couldn't. This sector here we seem pretty good on the brakes. I was actually quite comfortable in this sector here. The infield sector is where I was definitely strongest, and unfortunately there the bump catches Bunta that time round. I did say it earlier on that the bump was incredible, how pretty much you touch it the wrong way or go over the wrong way, you just high side. You can see here now another R1, Lucoid Rock I believe his name is, and he just made me look like I'm on a 600. So it just shows what peak gearing will do as we start lap 7 of 11 now. We're still kind of P6 at the moment, so considering we started on the 4th row, I'm pretty content with this at the moment. My pace was never going to be that good here. I don't like the track. The oval racing doesn't suit me, but we're in behind another quick guy here, and someone I feel like I can compete with in the mid sector, and maybe if I can just get a bit of slipstream I could drag myself along on the oval and on the straights. You can see we're up by almost 4 tenths. Again, just does not want to get the bike turned in. I cannot get the bike turned for whatever reason in the race. Maybe some temperature change for the race, maybe a bit of wind, I'm not too sure. But I did not feel comfortable throughout this race. A bit of a dust in the middle of the track there, I don't know where that was from. But we're kind of keeping tabs on the guy in front. Again, setting my personal best lap time, not doing too badly overall in the race. But unfortunately, as you'll see here in a second, we make our one and only mistake, and it's pretty innocuous mistake. It turns out I've watched it back a few times. There is a change in tarmac there, and one of it is painted tarmac, but it's actually gravel. And then we get stuck in the fence here. You can see me looking over my shoulder. My bike is half stuck. I can't respawn, so I've had to just pull in the clutch, dump it, and kind of jump me out of the wall. So we lost, I think 18 seconds is what I calculated me losing, so really unfortunate. Now we jump to lap 8, another rider off in turn 1, I believe to be Benjamin, I think, on the other Kawasaki, so that puts us back up into the top 9. Unfortunately though, there was not much more else going to happen in this race for me. Again, most people are just trying to keep it rubber side down. That is Manu, I believe, who's crashed again, and then he respawns and crashes again, just trying to get going too quick. Very easily done. So unfortunate for Manu having 3 crashes in this race. Coming through the corner again there, we binned it. So we have another lapped rider in front now, this time a yellow Camel Honda. You can see we fast forward to turn 1, he goes all the way to the wall and kaboom, hits it. So there was someone also off in the gravel in turn 1 there, so we've actually gained another position. I'm not really sure on who it was, But we are up now to P8, so not really a bad recovery ride. So we start now the final lap. Coming to turn 1, Ben is pretty close behind me. He seems to have much more pace. He doesn't seem to have as much trust issues in turn 1. That was a crash from Manu. I believe there might be contact between him and Ben, because Ben did apologise afterwards for his turn 1 on that lap, so I'm not really sure if there's contact, but that was Manu's 4th crash, so pretty abysmal round 1 for the Spaniard. But at this point now, I've had my crash. I've been pretty poor all race. I've just not had the feeling. P8 behind Biker and Bunta wouldn't be a bad race for me, so we're just going to try and get this to the finish now, get some points on the board, get race 1 out of the way, and just kind of use this as a building testing round. So Ben behind is on the same bike, but he seems to be a lot quicker on this lap. I'm not doing a bad lap myself, but just because I know it's the last lap, I'm just trying to get it to the line, and I'm quite focusing on Ben a bit too much, and I just need to kind of think of my own riding. But you can see I'm constantly behind because he's so far back. You'd imagine you're nowhere near that he can't catch you, but the slipstream is so powerful, as if he just gets into my slipstream, that gap will be nothing before I know it. So I was really aware that anything could happen and that he could slipstream me. So even back there, I was still kind of concerned that he could catch me because of the way Bunta caught me in the earlier part of the race, and Lou also caught me so quick. I was just so concerned that even same machinery behind, I thought he definitely had a chance. But at this point now, as we come through the final embankment, I pretty much was confirmed he hadn't got the slipstream, so we were pretty much confirmed for P8. And it looks like Bunta has just pipped Biker on the last lap, so it is going to be P8, start to P12. Overall, it's not a bad result, but considering we're up in P3, P4 in the early laps, slightly disappointed with the crash. I didn't really do much wrong. It was just a small mistake on my behalf, but not even off track. It's just a track change of texture. Very, very hard to realise that. There's something the track kind of didn't really show off very well. There's a small little beam of different tarmac and it just caught me out. But it was Daniel Savani who wins ahead of Azrael Yellow and Rico 46 rounding out the podium. Now we will have more riders throughout the season. There is a few people missing. I think 24 people on the grid usually. So P8 not too bad on the opening round. So overall pretty happy to get a top 8 considering my crash, but definitely not a strong round for me. But I am going to leave it there now for today's episode, round 1 of the Moto America Superbike mod. So I hope you have enjoyed today's one. If you did, drop a like down below. Let me know if you are interested in this series, you want to see more going forward. It'll be every Sunday of the race, so usually the video should be out probably Monday, Tuesday time, so going forward you can look out for it in your inboxes. But I hope you have enjoyed today's video. If you did, drop a like down below, subscribe to see more, and I should catch you all in not so distant future. Thanks for watching, see you in the next one.